It started with a text message that wasn't meant for me. Can't wait to see you again tonight. That tiny red heart, so innocent, so harmless, was the first crack in the world I thought was perfect. My husband, Daniel, was sitting right beside me on the couch when his phone lit up. He didn't even flinch, just reached over, flipped it face down, and smiled at me like nothing happened. That smile. I used to love it. Now it felt like poison. Daniel and I had been married for 7 years. We met in college. He was that charming, confident guy who could make a whole room laugh without trying. I was quieter, more reserved, drawn to his energy, like a moth to a flame. We built a life together that everyone envied. The kind of marriage people post about on Instagram. Weekend getaways, inside jokes, a golden retriever named Max, and a house filled with laughter. Or so it seemed. The first time I noticed something was off, it was small. He started showering right after coming home from work. Not unusual, right? But Daniel used to come in, kiss me, grab a beer, and tell me about his day. Suddenly, he'd go straight upstairs. Long day, he'd mumble. I told myself I was overthinking. But then he started locking his phone. Not just a simple PIN, Face ID. And he carried it everywhere, even to the bathroom. One night, he came home smelling faintly of perfume. Not mine. I knew that scent. It was floral, expensive, like something you'd wear to make an impression. When I asked, he laughed. Oh, come on, babe. You think someone hugged me at work, and I didn't notice? He kissed my forehead. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him so badly. But there was a flicker in his eyes, just for a second, that told me everything I needed to know. He was lying. I tried to push it down. Pretend. I told myself he was stressed, that maybe we were just going through a phase. But the universe has a cruel way of confirming your worst fears. A week later, I went to grab his jacket from the car. Inside the pocket was a hotel key card. The logo was from a business hotel downtown. I just stared at it for a long time, like if I looked hard enough, it would explain itself. That night, I didn't confront him. I couldn't. Instead, I made a decision. If there was something to find, I'd find it. So the next day, while he was at work, I called my friend Chloe. She's the kind of friend who doesn't judge, just listens. I told her everything, from the locked phone to the perfume to the hotel key. She didn't say much. Just, you sure you're ready for whatever you'll find? I wasn't, but I nodded anyway. I did something I never thought I'd do. I went to the hotel. I told the front desk I'd lost my key and gave them the number from the card. They handed me a replacement without a question. When I opened that door, my heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. The room was empty, but not untouched. There was an open wine bottle, 2 glasses, and a woman's scarf draped over the chair. Red silk. The kind of red that screams danger and desire all at once. I sat on the bed for a long time trying to breathe, trying to imagine what they did in that room, who she was. I thought about calling him right then, screaming, demanding the truth. But something inside me shifted. I didn't want to give him the satisfaction of watching me break. Not yet. That night, I acted normal. Made dinner. Laughed at his stories. I even kissed him goodnight. But while he slept, I unlocked his phone using Face ID. He'd fallen asleep with it next to him. My hand was shaking. I didn't even know what I was looking for until I found it. A contact saved under A. I opened the thread. Hundreds of messages. Photos. Voice notes. She called him D. He called her Angel. I read every word until I felt physically sick. And then there it was. The shock that made everything twist in my chest. The woman's name wasn't just A. It was Amelia, Chloe's sister. My best friend's sister. When I tell you I couldn't breathe, I mean it literally. I sat there, staring at the screen, replaying every time Chloe had mentioned her sister. Every time Daniel had smiled politely when her name came up. The dinners. The jokes. The trips. He'd been sleeping with her sister. But that wasn't the worst part. No, the worst part came the next morning when I confronted Chloe. I expected anger, outrage, maybe even disbelief. But she didn't look surprised. She just looked guilty. That's when I realized she knew. Please don't hate me, she whispered. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. I didn't understand. Not until she told me that it started because of me. Because months ago, I'd confided in her that Daniel had been distant, and she told Amelia to test his loyalty. Just a little game. A harmless test. Only Amelia didn't stop when she should have. And Daniel didn't either. They fell in love. And that's where I broke. Because it wasn't just betrayal. It was engineered betrayal. I left, packed my things, took Max, and drove until the city disappeared in the rearview mirror. I didn't cry until I hit the highway. Because crying would mean accepting it. Accepting that the two people I trusted most had built a lie right under my nose. But sometimes, even when you run, the truth finds a way to follow you. Because last week Daniel called. Said he was sorry. Said Amelia had left him. Said he wanted me back. And now I don't know what's worse, that he betrayed me, or that some small, pathetic part of me still misses him. What would you do if the man you loved betrayed you because of a loyalty test gone wrong? I didn't answer Daniel's call that night. I couldn't. My fingers hovered over the screen, my heart thudding in my chest like it wanted to escape. His voice message sat there, waiting to be played, taunting me with a truth I didn't know if I was ready to hear. For days, I ignored him. I told myself silence was power, that I was taking control by not giving him my attention. But late at night, when the house was too quiet and the shadows stretched across the walls, I found myself wondering, what if he really was sorry? What if he actually regretted everything? So one night I broke. I pressed play. His voice, familiar, tender, and raw, filled the room. Emily, please. I don't even know where to start. I know I destroyed everything. Amelia's gone. She left me months ago. I've been trying to find the courage to call you ever since. I didn't love her, not really. I don't even know what that was. I miss you. I miss us. Please, can we talk? I almost threw my phone across the room. The audacity. The manipulation. I could hear it in every word. The same tone he used to talk me down from arguments, the same calm, reasonable voice that made me doubt my own sanity when I caught him lying. He was good, too good. But this time, I wasn't that naive, trusting wife anymore. I'd learned what his apologies were worth. Nothing. Still, curiosity is a dangerous thing. It eats at you, even when you know better. So I called him back the next morning. We can talk, I said. But only in person. We met at a cafe downtown. Neutral ground. Public. I wanted witnesses, just in case I lost control. When he walked in, it was like seeing a ghost. He looked thinner, tired, almost fragile. But then again, maybe that was what guilt looked like. He smiled when he saw me, a soft, hesitant smile that once melted me. Now it made my stomach twist. Emily, he said, sitting across from me. You look good. I didn't respond. I just stirred my coffee, watching the tiny whirlpool form and fade. Say what you came to say. He sighed. I know you hate me. I deserve it. But I need you to know the truth. Amelia, she wasn't what you think. I laughed. A sharp, bitter sound that made a few people glance over. Oh, really? Enlighten me. What was she then, Daniel? A figment of my imagination? A test subject? A charity case? He leaned forward. She was obsessed with me, Emily. It started as that stupid loyalty test, yes. But she took it further. She made me feel trapped. She said if I didn't keep seeing her, she'd tell you we'd slept together, even before it happened. I stared at him. So, you're saying you slept with her because you were afraid she'd tell me you slept with her? His jaw clenched. I know how that sounds, but she manipulated me. She knew exactly what to say, how to twist things. She used things you told Chloe about me, about our marriage. Things I didn't even know you'd shared. I felt a chill crawl down my spine. What things? He hesitated, then looked me dead in the eyes. That you thought I was losing interest. That you worried I wasn't attracted to you anymore. She used that. She said if you ever found out, you'd leave me anyway, so what did it matter if I gave her what she wanted? For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Because he was right, I had told Chloe those things. In one of those tearful late-night talks after too much wine. I'd said it half jokingly, half in fear. Sometimes I think he doesn't look at me the same way anymore, I'd told her. Maybe I'm just not enough. And now, hearing those words thrown back at me, twisted into this grotesque justification, it was like being stabbed with my own confessions. But still, a part of me wondered, could Amelia really have done that? She always seemed so quiet, so put together. The last time I'd seen her, she hugged me at a family barbecue, smiling like nothing was wrong. Was that the face of a manipulator, or a woman who thought she'd won? Daniel reached for my hand, but I pulled away. I don't believe you, I said flatly. You're just rewriting the story, so you don't have to be the villain. He exhaled, defeated. You think whatever you want. But I swear to God, I never stopped loving you. Then why did you keep going back to her? He looked away, and that silence was the only answer I needed. I left without another word. But the moment I stepped outside, I saw something that made my blood run cold. Across the street, leaning against a car, was Amelia, watching us. Our eyes met. She didn't look ashamed or afraid. She smiled. Slow, confident, like she knew something I didn't. And that's when I realized this wasn't over. Over the next few days, weird things started happening. A bouquet of flowers showed up at my house with no card. My email inbox flooded with anonymous messages, some full of apologies, others with photos. Photos of Daniel and Amelia. Some from months ago, others recent. Very recent. Then one night, I heard footsteps outside my house. I looked through the window, and for just a second, I saw a figure standing by my gate. A woman, her hair catching the streetlight. Then she was gone. I called Chloe, shaking. I think your sister's following me, I said. There was silence on the other end. Then Chloe whispered, Emily, you need to stop talking about her like that. What are you talking about? Because Amelia's gone. I froze. Gone. She disappeared 3 weeks ago. No one's seen her since. Daniel told the police she ran away after they broke up. But Emily, they found her phone in his car. The room spun. My heartbeat roared in my ears. I could barely form words. You're lying. I wish I was. I hung up without saying goodbye. My hands were shaking so badly, I dropped my phone. Amelia gone. Daniel lying again. Or maybe not. Maybe she was gone, but not in the way they thought. Because when I looked out the window again, I swear I saw that same red scarf fluttering in the wind by the gate. And that night, I got another message. No name. Just one line. He's not telling you everything. What would you do if your cheating husband claimed he was the victim, while his mistress disappeared without a trace? My world had already shattered once, but now the pieces were rearranging into something darker, something I couldn't recognize. Amelia was missing. And Daniel, the man who once swore he'd never hurt me, was tangled up in it. Every instinct screamed at me to stay out of it, to move on. But that message, he's not telling you everything, echoed in my head like a curse. Who sent it? Was it Amelia? Or someone trying to warn me? I barely slept that night. Every sound made me jump. The creak of the house, Max's nails on the floor, the faint hum of the refrigerator. When I finally drifted off, I dreamed of that red scarf again, blowing across a dark road, leading me somewhere I didn't want to go. When I woke, I knew I couldn't ignore this. I started with Daniel. He'd told me Amelia left him, that she was manipulative, obsessive. But what if that was another lie to cover something worse? I needed proof. So I drove to his place, our old house. My key still worked. He wasn't home. The second I stepped inside, memories flooded me. The smell of his cologne, the dent on the couch cushion where Max used to sleep, the photo of us on our honeymoon still hanging on the wall. But the house felt different now, heavier. Like it was holding secrets. I went straight to his office. Daniel had always been meticulous. His desk was spotless, papers perfectly stacked, no dust anywhere. But the drawer locked. I remembered he used to keep the key taped under the keyboard. When I found it, I almost laughed. He never changed. Inside the drawer was a folder. thick, full of receipts, photos, and notes written in his handwriting. Some were work-related, but others weren't. There were hotel receipts dated months after he claimed things ended with Amelia. There were printed emails, messages between them. I recognized her tone, playful and sharp, but one email stopped me cold. Subject line: she knows. From Amelia to Daniel. Date: 2 days before she vanished. The message was short. If she finds out, everything ends. You promise me, Daniel. Don't make me do something we'll both regret. My pulse quickened. It wasn't the words, it was the attachment. A photo. I opened it, and my breath caught in my throat. It was me, standing outside my office building, taken from across the street. I stumbled back, my mind spinning. She'd been watching me.
Why?
What did she mean by everything ends? Before I could process, I heard a sound, a car pulling into the driveway. Daniel. I panicked, stuffed the folder back, and slipped out the back door. I barely made it to my car before he came inside. I sat there, gripping the steering wheel, trying to breathe. For a moment, I thought about confronting him. But no, not yet. I needed to know more. That night, I called Chloe again. Her voice sounded different this time, tired, hollow. Emily, please let it go, she said. The police already questioned Daniel. They said there's no evidence of foul play. But her phone was in his car. They said she probably left it there before she disappeared. People walk away all the time. Maybe she wanted to start over. I almost laughed. You really believe that? Silence. Then, quietly, I don't know what to believe anymore. But I did. Because something in Daniel's story didn't add up. And if the police weren't going to dig deeper, I would. I started calling the hotel, where I'd found the key card months ago. The manager remembered Daniel. He said he used to book the same room, Suite 412, every week, always with the same woman. But here's the part that made my stomach twist. The last time Daniel was there, he wasn't with Amelia. He was alone. Or so he claimed. The manager said the maid found a woman's scarf in the room after he left. Red silk. The same scarf I'd seen the night she vanished. I drove there myself. I told the staff I was doing research for a private matter. The room was already rented, but when I stood in that hallway again outside 412, I swear I could feel something. A tension in the air. The faintest trace of that perfume, hers, still lingered. I closed my eyes and imagined them there. The laughter. The whispers. The betrayal. Then I noticed something strange. Down the hall, a security camera. I asked the manager if they still had footage from that night. He hesitated, said they usually wiped recordings after 30 days, but maybe, just maybe, the police still had a copy. So I called the detective assigned to Amelia's case. I introduced myself, told him I was Daniel's wife. Ex-wife, technically. He paused for a long time before saying, Mrs. Walker, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but since you're on the contact list, the footage from that night is incomplete. Incomplete how? Power outage. The camera went dark at 10:43 p.m., came back at 11:27. About 40 minutes missing. But we know Daniel was there at 10:30. He checked out just before midnight. So you're saying, I'm saying we don't know what happened in those 40 minutes. That night, I couldn't stop replaying it in my head. 40 minutes. Enough time for anything to happen. And then, as if the universe wanted to twist the knife deeper, I got another message. Same anonymous number. This time, there was a photo attached. A selfie, me, sitting in my car outside Daniel's house earlier that day. The caption read, You're getting too close. I froze. Whoever this was, they were watching me now. The next morning, I found something even worse. Someone had broken into my house. Nothing was stolen, but everything was slightly off. My perfume bottles moved. A photo frame turned backward. My bedroom window unlocked. Whoever it was had been inside. I called the police, but they didn't take it seriously. Probably a prank, they said. I felt like I was going insane. I didn't know who to trust anymore. Chloe stopped answering my calls. Daniel kept texting me, begging me to believe him, to meet again. And through it all, those messages kept coming. Always short, always chilling. You don't know the full story. He's lying. Look in the garden.
I didn't want to.
I was terrified. But curiosity and fear are powerful motivators. That night, I grabbed a flashlight and went into the garden behind my house. Max followed, tail low, growling softly. The wind was cold, the air thick with silence. Then I saw it, something glinting near the rosebush. A small metal locket. I picked it up, opened it, and nearly dropped it. Inside was a tiny photo of Daniel and Amelia, smiling, her head on his shoulder. But behind the photo, folded tight, was a note. It was smeared with dirt, but I could still read the words. She wasn't supposed to die. My knees gave out. I sat there in the dirt, the flashlight trembling in my hand. She wasn't supposed to die. If that note was real, if Daniel wrote it, then everything I thought I knew was a lie. But the worst part? As I sat there, staring at that note, I heard my phone buzz. A new message. From that same anonymous number. It said, "You found it. Now come see me. I'll tell you everything." And below it, an address. It was the hotel. Room 412. What would you do if the truth you were chasing led you right back to the place where it all began? I sat in my car outside the hotel, staring at the glowing sign that said Grandview Suites. My hands were trembling so badly, I had to grip the steering, well, just to keep them steady. The address from the anonymous message led me here, to the same place where everything had started. The same place I once stood in disbelief, staring at a red scarf and two half-empty wine glasses. Room 412. Every instinct in me screamed to turn around, to drive home, to pretend none of this was happening. But curiosity had already wrapped itself around my throat, squeezing tighter with every unanswered question. So I went inside. The woman at the front desk didn't even look up when I asked for room 412. I half expected her to stop me, to ask for ID, but she just nodded, slid me a key card, and muttered, "They're expecting you."
They.
That single word made my skin crawl. When the elevator doors opened on the 4th floor, my heart was pounding so hard it echoed in my ears. The hallway was quiet, too quiet. Every door looked identical, same gold numbers, same bland beige paint, but 412 felt heavier, like the air around it carried a weight. I lifted my hand to knock, but before I could, the door opened from the inside. And there she was, Amelia.
Alive.
For a moment, my brain refused to process it. Her hair was shorter, darker, her clothes simple, jeans, a black sweater, but those eyes, sharp and deliberate, were unmistakable. "You," I choked out. "You're alive?" she said, finishing my sentence with a small, bitter smile. Surprised, I stumbled backward. Everyone said you were gone." I wanted them to think that. She stepped aside.
Come in.
"We need to talk." Every rational part of me screamed to run. But the need for answers was stronger. I walked past her, into the room. It was clean, quiet, and faintly smelled of roses. The same perfume I'd smelled that first night. She shut the door behind me and leaned against it. "You've been busy," she said, nodding toward my bag. "Digging through Daniel's things. Calling people. Playing detective." I clenched my fists. "You disappeared, Amelia. You sent messages. You broke into my house." Her expression didn't change. "I had to make sure you were paying attention." Paying attention to what? The truth. I almost laughed. The truth? You seduced my husband. You lied to your sister. You destroyed my marriage. What truth could possibly justify that? She tilted her head, her gaze sharp enough to cut glass. "Did I destroy your marriage, Emily? Or did I just expose what was already broken?" The words hit like a slap. "You don't know anything about my marriage." "Oh, I know more than you think." She crossed her arms. "Do you know why Daniel let me in so easily? Why he didn't resist? Because he was already halfway gone before I even showed up. He just needed a reason. And Chloe, your precious best friend, gave him one." My stomach dropped. "Chloe?" Amelia smiled coldly. "You think she told me to test his loyalty out of concern?"
Please.
She wanted to destroy him. Destroy both of you. She was jealous. She told me everything. How perfect you two looked, how everyone called you the golden couple, how you never struggled the way she did. She wanted to see you fall apart. I was her weapon. I stared at her, trying to make sense of it. You're lying. She shrugged. Believe what you want. But tell me, why do you think she stopped answering your calls? Why did she tell you I was missing when she knew exactly where I was? My mind was spinning. The messages, the fear, the games, had it all been orchestrated? Then why the messages? I demanded. The threats? The photos? The note in my garden? She sighed, almost tired. I needed you to see him the way I saw him. The way he really is. The lying. The control. The manipulation. You think I was the only one he played? He promised me everything, Emily. A new life. A future. Said he'd leave you, that it was just a matter of time. But when it came down to it, he panicked. He lied to both of us. Her voice cracked just slightly, but it was there. And when I found out he was still seeing you, I wanted him to feel what it's like to be trapped in his own lies. So, I disappeared. Let him think I was gone. Let him drown in guilt. And then she looked straight at me. I wanted you to find out the truth, piece by piece. So you'd finally see him for what he is. I felt dizzy. You used me. I woke you up, she said simply. You were living in a dream built on lies. I just gave you the alarm clock. Silence. Only the hum of the air conditioner filled the room. Finally, I said, So what now? What do you want from me? Amelia's expression softened. Just a little. I want you to tell him.
Tell him you know everything.
Watch him fall apart. He'll confess. He always does. And when he does, record it. That's all I need. I stared at her, realizing this wasn't about me anymore. It was about revenge. Why? I asked quietly. Why can't you just move on? She looked at me for a long time before answering. Because I lost everything for him. My family, my job, my reputation. And he walked away like nothing happened. Some people deserve to be haunted, Emily. Her words sent a shiver through me. I left the hotel without saying goodbye. That night, I sat in my living room, staring at my phone. Amelia's plan echoed in my head. Tell him. Record it. Every instinct said not to. But part of me, some small broken part, wanted closure. So I called Daniel. He sounded surprised to hear from me, but relieved. Emily, I've been meaning to.
Save it, I said.
I just want to talk. In person. Tomorrow.
Noon.
At the old house. He agreed immediately. When I arrived the next day, he was already there, standing by the kitchen window. The same spot where we used to drink coffee, every morning. I'm glad you came, he said softly. You look tired. I set my phone on the counter, camera recording. You've been lying, Daniel. He frowned. About what? Amelia.
His jaw tightened.
Emily. She's alive. I interrupted. She told me everything. For a moment he froze. Then, slowly, he said, You've seen her? I nodded. At the hotel. Room 412. He turned pale. You shouldn't have gone there. Why not? Because she's dangerous, he said. She's not who you think she is. I almost laughed. Oh, that's rich. You're calling her dangerous? He ran a hand through his hair. You don't understand. She recorded me. Threatened to ruin me. Everything she said, it was part of her game. Her game, I repeated. Or yours? He looked at me, eyes desperate. Emily, please. She's manipulating you. She wants to destroy both of us. Don't let her win. And then something strange happened. He reached for my phone. What's this? Don't, I said quickly. He stared at the screen, realizing it was recording. His face shifted, fear, then anger. You're with her. No, I said. I just want the truth. The truth? He laughed bitterly. There's no truth left, Emily. Not between any of us. He grabbed his coat and stormed out before I could stop him. I sat there in silence, staring at the empty doorway. Then my phone buzzed. Another message from that same anonymous number. This time just 3 words. He took the bait. I stared at the screen, realization dawning like a slow, burning light. Amelia hadn't just wanted revenge. She'd wanted control. She was still playing the game. And now I was her pawn. The question is, how far would she go to win? What would you do if you discovered that the mistress and the husband were both using you, but for completely different reasons? I sat in the empty kitchen long after Daniel left, the air still humming with his anger. My phone was still on the counter, the recording still running, its red light blinking like a heartbeat. Everything had built to this moment, all the lies, all the manipulation, and now I realized I was standing in the middle of a war I didn't even start. I played back the recording. His voice came through, sharp, desperate, defensive. And then I heard something I hadn't noticed in the moment, a sound in the background, faint but unmistakable. A soft chime, like a phone notification. But not mine. I rewound it, turned the volume up. It came right after he said, "You shouldn't have gone there." And then I recognized it. It was the same message tone from the anonymous number. My chest tightened. Amelia had been texting me while Daniel was standing right there. The same chime, the same tone. I picked up my phone and scrolled through the messages, heart pounding. Then I looked at the last one again. He took the bait. I whispered the words out loud, and for the first time I noticed something else, the timestamp. It was sent 30 seconds after Daniel walked out. I didn't even have time to think before another message appeared. "You did well, Emily." I froze. My stomach dropped. Slowly, I typed back. "Who is this?" The 3 dots appeared instantly.
Typing.
Then stopped. Then started again. "It doesn't matter. You're free now." And then nothing. I stared at the screen for what felt like hours. No new messages. No calls. Just silence. For a while, I convinced myself it was over. I packed up what was left of my things, filed for divorce, sold the house, and moved to a smaller place by the coast. I started therapy, took long walks with Max, and tried to rebuild the person I used to be before my life turned into a storm of secrets and tests and betrayal. But peace has a strange way of feeling temporary when you've lived in chaos for too long. A few weeks later, I got an email. No subject line. No sender name. Just a single attachment. A photo. It was me, sitting on my porch, coffee in hand, smiling at the sunrise. The caption read, "See? You were never alone." And for the first time, I didn't know whether to feel terrified or comforted. Because maybe Amelia was right. Maybe some people do deserve to be haunted. Or maybe we all are, just by different ghosts. What would you do if you realized the person exposing your lies was also the one protecting you from the truth?